Without the First Amendment, without free speech, you cannot have a free country. That's where all of our ideas come from. That's the greatest expression of a free country. I'm Doug in Exile, and I've been going over the Twitter files, and here is a committee with Matt Taibbi, who broke the Twitter files, being questioned by our government.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Plaskett, members of the Select Committee, thank you for having me today. My name is Matt Taibbi. I've been a reporter for 30 years and a staunch advocate of the First Amendment. Much of that time was spent at Rolling Stone magazine. Ranking Member Plaskett, I'm not a so-called journalist. I've won the National Magazine Award, the I.F. Stone Award for Independent Journalism, and I've written 10 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers. I'm now the editor of the online magazine Racket on the independent platform Substack.
It was the Democrat Plaskett that was questioning him, calling him a so-called journalist. That's how they do it. And you can hear Jim Jordan laughing in the background that she would do such a thing. But this is more important than any other political issue. Don't skip this. This is on which all other political issues hang. I said this last year, the biggest breakthrough of the year is the release of the Twitter files by Elon Musk.
I'm here today because of a series of events that began late last year when I received a note from a source online. It read, "Are you interested in doing a deep dive into what censorship and manipulation was going on at Twitter?" A week later, the first of what became known as the Twitter files reports came out. To say these attracted intense public interest would be an understatement. My computer looked like a Vegas slot machine, as just the first tweet about the blockage of the Hunter Biden laptop story registered 143 million impressions and 30 million engagements.
This was the single biggest source of revealing the Hunter Biden laptop. It came out on Twitter.
But it wasn't until a week after the first report, after Michael Schellenberger, Barry Weiss, and other researchers joined the search of the files, that we started to grasp the significance of this story. The original promise of the internet was that it might democratize the exchange of information globally. A free internet would overwhelm all attempts to control information flow, its very existence a threat to anti-democratic forms of government everywhere. What we found in the files was a sweeping effort to reverse that promise and use machine learning and other tools to turn the internet into an instrument of censorship and social control. Unfortunately, our own government appears to be playing a lead role.
There's 2 forms of censorship going on. One by the private tech companies that are like a screen where the information goes through before it goes out to the internet. And the other form is our government, which these guys exposed not only that Hunter Biden's laptop was being tamped down, but that many individuals were gone after by our government through this free company, Twitter. And all these emails only got found out because Elon Musk owns them. When he bought Twitter, he went in and the first thing he did was he seized the computers and got all the information before it could get scrubbed.
We saw the first hints in communications between Twitter executives before the 2020 election, when we read things like flagged by DHS or please see attached report from FBI for potential misinformation. This would be attached to an Excel spreadsheet with a long list of names whose accounts were often suspended shortly after. Again, Ranking Member Plaskett, I would note that the evidence of Twitter-government relationship includes lists of tens of thousands of names on both the left and right. The people affected include Trump supporters, but also left-leaning sites like Consortium and Truth Out, the leftist South American channel Telesur, the Yellow Vest movement. That, in fact, is a key point of the Twitter files, that it's neither a left nor right issue.
Now, Matt Taibbi says it's neither a left or right issue. That's kind of false. Now, it is true that they did tamp down about 95% conservatives and 5% liberals they went after. It was roughly, I don't know if the numbers are exact on that, but my main point is right now, who is trying to help the Twitter files get information and who's trying to tamp it down? It is 100% being tamped down by the left. 100% Democrats. So regardless of who Twitter was going after, the ones that are trying to protect Twitter now are Democrats. And the ones that are trying to expose what Twitter did are all on the right side of politics.
Following the trail of communications between Twitter and the federal government across tens of thousands of emails led to a series of revelations. Mr. Chairman, we summarized and submitted them to the committee in the form of a new Twitter files thread, which was also released to the public this morning. We learned Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other companies developed a formal system for taking in moderation requests from every corner of government, from the FBI, the DHS, the HHS, DOD, the Global Engagement Center at State, even the CIA. For every government agency scanning Twitter, there were perhaps 20 quasi-private entities doing the same thing, including Stanford's Election Integrity Partnership, NewsGuard, the Global Disinformation Index, and many others, many taxpayer-funded.
So it doesn't have to be just the public government performing censorship. It is taxpayers are funding these other private entities, and those private entities are going to big tech to censor people. That means our tax dollars I'm paying to be censored through all these back channels. I'm paying for it to lose my business. And I'm one of the people that Twitter went after. Every big tech company has gone after people like me. And I'm not some radical. I'm a normal right-wing guy. I just say a few things that go against their narrative, and they have determined that they're dangerous. They're allowed to determine that. But I'm only saying all they're doing is admitting, yes, it's happening. Just say it. Yes, we do it.
A focus of this fast-growing network, as Mike noted, is making lists of people whose opinions, beliefs, associations, or sympathies are deemed misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. That last term is just a euphemism for true but inconvenient.
It is and that's how they do it. They redefine words. Like what I would say they would consider dangerous is, in my opinion, clearly not dangerous. I get where they're coming from, because dangerous people do exist, and dangerous people do take advantage of the freedom of the internet. That's all I'll say in their defense. But I'm not one of those people. I'm not dangerous. Neither are the people that listen to me.
Undeniably, the making of such lists is a form of digital McCarthyism. Ordinary Americans are not just being reported to Twitter for de-amplification or deplatforming, but to firms like PayPal, digital advertisers like Xandr, and crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe.
Yeah, it's not just PayPal, GoFundMe. I am a crowd. All of my comics, link in the description. You can buy my comics on Spotify. Spotify has deplatformed conservative people. I also raised all the money on my crowdfunding site on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. They have also canceled parties because of their political affiliation. So it affects everyone. This is digital McCarthyism. And remember how the left just hates the McCarthy hearings and McCarthy. They're like McCarthy on steroids. McCarthy couldn't dream of doing the level of censorship that big tech does. You're McCarthy. And you're supposed to enjoy people like Matt Taibbi and me who are whistleblowers. But we're going to get crushed by big tech McCarthy.
These companies can and do refuse service to law-abiding people and businesses whose only crime is falling afoul of a distant, faceless, unaccountable, algorithmic judge. As someone who grew up a traditional ACLU liberal, this mechanism for punishment and deprivation without due process is horrifying.
And I love this one most of all, because Matt Taibbi is an ACLU liberal. And guess what? You're on the wrong side, because they're after you. Come to the conservative side, where we'll protect your free speech. Every liberal needs to know this. Every liberal hearing this right now, they will come for you too. Ultimately, if you disagree with them on any front, you will lose your job, you'll lose your income, you'll lose your reach, and they will cancel your microphone.
Another troubling aspect is the role of the press, which should be the people's last line of defense in such cases. But instead of investigating these groups, journalists partnered with them. If Twitter declined to remove an account right away, government agencies and NGOs would call reporters for the New York Times, Washington Post, and other outlets, who in turn would call Twitter demanding to know why action had not yet been taken. Effectively, news media became an arm of a state-sponsored thought policing system.
Like I said, that's because this is a Democrat problem, not a Republican one. The Republican Party didn't, news place, like say Fox News, didn't join them, the government, in oppressing members. It was always Democrat-run media. So because journalism is run by Democrats, journalism put the Twitter censorship on steroids.
It's just not possible to instantly arrive at truth. It is, however, possible becoming technologically possible to instantly define and enforce a political consensus online, which I believe is what we're looking at. This is a grave threat to people of all political persuasions. The First Amendment and an American population accustomed to the right to speak is the best defense left against the censorship industrial complex. If the latter can knock over our first and most important constitutional guarantee, these groups will have no serious opponent left anywhere. If there's anything the Twitter files show, it's that we're in danger of losing this most precious right, without which all democratic rights are impossible.
And some of you are still stuck on, voting and on all of these court cases. This is so far upstream, it doesn't matter what happens downstream because it will be controlled by the top. It will be spun and they will make you believe anything they want. Your free speech is at stake. Now watch this. They go after Matt Taibbi, and this is a great exchange.
Yes. I thank the gentlelady for yielding. I just think this is interesting. First, the FTC is asking for your background, and now the ranking member of the Committee on the Weaponization of Government is asking for your sources.
I never asked them for their sources.
Yes,
I did not ask for sources.
You know
Who gave you access to these emails?
Yes, this is a Democrat saying that she did not ask for sources. She is lying literally just before. Here she is asking Matt Taibbi for his sources.
Who was the
People at
individual that gave you permission to access the emails?
Well, the attribution from my story is sources at Twitter, and that's what I'm going to refer to.
Okay. Did Mr. Musk contact you, Mr. Taibbi?
Again, the attribution from my story is sources at Twitter.
Thank you for asking for his sources, Democrat. Then gaslighting him and saying she didn't ask for his sources. This is, guys, I hope the hair is standing up on the back of your neck right now because this is problem one. And I'll buddy up with this atheist liberal Matt Taibbi all day because he's doing incredible good. Same thing with atheist liberal Elon Musk, who paid $42 billion for Twitter, and all of Wall Street mocked him, saying, what a dumb business move. Elon Musk knows one thing, that freedom isn't free. Where the treasure is, there your heart will be also. He put his money where his mouth is. Maybe he just values free speech more than you. I'm Doug in Exile.